Hello listeners, this video discusses Sudha Murty's Mahashweta. Let us first see about Sudha Murty. She is an Indian educator, author, philanthropist who is the chairperson of the Infosys Foundation. She is married to the co-founder of Infosys, N.R. Narayana Murty. Sudha Murty is born in the year 1950 in Mysore. She is at present aged 71. The popular books published by Sudha Murty is 3000 Stitches, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read and Other Stories, Wise and Otherwise, Mahashweta. This novel Mahashweta is written by Sudha Murty. It talks about the female protagonist named Anupama. This novel deals with the issue of leucoderma. Leucoderma is otherwise called as vitiligo. It is a long-term skin condition which is characterized by patches of the skin by losing their pigment. There is one more similar novel like this in Marathi, which is written by Sumati Keshtramed. This Marathi novel by Sumati also deals with the same leucoderma issues. This novel also concerns about the female protagonist who is again named as Anupama. Sudha Murty has only come to know about this Marathi novel only after finishing her novel Mahashweta. Let us see the characters of this novel. Anupama is the protagonist. Dr. Anand is Anupama's husband. Sumitra is Anupama's friend. Radhaka is Anupama's mother-in-law. Girija is Anupama's sister-in-law. Shamana is Anupama's father. Dr. Vasant is Anupama's friend. Dr. Satya is the friend of both Dr. Vasant and Anupama. Also, Dr. Satya is a colleague of Dr. Vasant. Dolly is Anupama's friend and colleague. Sabaka is Anupama's stepmother. Nanda is Anupama's stepsister. Hari is Sumitra's husband. Let us see the plot summary of the novel. The protagonist of the novel, Anupama, is much interested in Sanskrit. She also shows her great knowledge based on the careful study that she had. She also enacts and directs the plays and also translates the Sanskrit plays in her college. One day, she happened to visit Dr. Desai. Desai is her father's friend who is selling tickets to the play. She is a host for a fundraising program. Fundraising means the seeking of financial support for a charity. And in the charity program, when she hosts the programs, she happened to meet Dr. Anand. He is an intelligent and handsome junior doctor and also a distant relative of Dr. Desai's wife. And as the conversation begins day after day, Anand's heart is drawn towards the beauty of Anupama. Anupama is also attracted to Dr. Anand. Dr. Desai is the person who introduced Anand to Anupama and Anupama to Anand. Now, Anand, he gets some tickets from Anupama by the compulsion of Dr. Desai. Dr. Desai compels Anand because he wants Anupama to trust Anand. Now, after purchasing the ticket, Anand goes to the play which is titled Mahashweta, which is also the name of the play's heroine. Anupama is the heroine there who's acting as Mahashweta. Watching the play's performance performed by Anupama, Anand is marveled by her beauty as well as her acting performance. He makes up his mind to marry her, also inquires about Anupama to Srinath. Srinath is the brother-in-law of Dr. Desai. Strina disagrees with Anand's idea of getting her in marriage because of the economic and social divide that they have between him and her. Because Anand is from a rich family, his father actually deceased his family, but he is a successful contractor. Whereas Anupama is the daughter of a poor schoolmaster in a village and completes her higher education by surviving on scholarships. Anand also conveys his wedding wishes to his mother. His mother is a possessive character and a domineering one. She is Radhaka and she unwillingly agrees to the alliance. Radhaka, by realizing the poor state of Anupama's household, she decides to organize and conduct the marriage at her expense. And by the acceptance of the wedding, Anupama becomes happy. Now her life is like a fairy tale because she has suffered losing her mother in her infancy, as her mother was dead, but she was raised by her grandmother and her stepmother named Sabaka. Anupama also has two stepsisters. They are Nanda and Vasudha. Her stepsisters look down on her because Anupama's beauty shadowed theirs. Considering Sabaka, she is compassionate to all motherless children, but she was different only with Anupama. Now, after the wedding, Anand leaves to England to pursue his higher studies, and Anupama is left alone here. She feels desperate. Anupama also discovers the strange relationship of sister-in-law, Girija. She is also desperate because of her. However, Anupama tries to adjust all the difficulties that she had. Later, Anupama's life crumbles when she discovers a white patch in her foot. The white patches are diagnosed as Leucoderma. Leucoderma is otherwise called as vitiligo. But Anupama did not disclose the secret to anyone. She also takes medication for leucoderma in order to cure it. However, the white patches kept growing. One fine day, when Anupama left the clinic in order to test and examine the dermatologist for her cure, Radhaka sees Anupama leaving the clinic and tries to closely observe her. Radhaka realizes that Anupama is affected with leucoderma and she tries to insult her badly. The entire household of Radhaka starts to treat her worse than a servant. Radhaka calls for Anupama's father and Shamana. When they arrive to Radhaka's house, Anupama's father begs to Radhaka to keep his daughter in her house, but Radhaka did not agree to any of Anupama's father's statement. She expels her out of her house. This is how Anupama returns to the village where she faces the social stigma of a married woman living with her parents. Anupama's stepmother also tries to insult her by pointing her skin condition. Even her husband abandons her. He maintains mute for all her distress letters. It is because Anand just married for her beauty, and once it becomes faded, Anupama meant nothing to him. Later, Shamana gets a transfer and the whole family moves to another village. Even 3 years later, Anupama's condition did not get better. Anupama, she visits the village temple of which the goddesses is believed to fulfill all the desires of her devotees. On the way, Anupama overhears from two women who is talking about Girija's marriage, who is the sister-in-law of Anupama. and the new wife for Anand and the search of new wife for Anand. From hearing this, Anupama becomes heartbroken and she tries to suicide, but later becomes determined to rebuild her life against all the odds that she has. She now decides to move for Bombay, where she is invited by her best friend Sumitra. There, Sumitra's husband Hari arranges a clerical job for Anupama, and there she begins to be independent and happy. Anupama is satisfied and happy because she is not reminded of her leucoderma in Bombay. Again, Anupama's life becomes a great threat when Hari is attracted to Anupama's beauty. He also tries to molest her, but in return, Anupama puts up a bold defense against Hari. Later, Anupama is friendly with her colleague named Dolly. She moves to her house. She moves to Dolly's house and becomes a part of Dolly's family. And Dolly also produces all the responsibility of her house to Anupama when she migrates to Australia. Meantime, Anupama gets a job as a Sanskrit lecturer at a college. Later, Anupama's father Shamana dies. He also begs her to return to Anand, and Shabaka, she demands Anupama to give financial support for her daughters. One day, Anupama met with a minor accident and is treated by Dr. Vasant. Dr. Vasant is also fond of Sanskrit, and by the mutual knowledge that they have in Sanskrit, helps them to become friends. Anupama also becomes friend with Dr. Satya, who is the roommate and colleague of Dr. Vasant. On the other side, Anand is much confused to make his decision because occasionally he feels sorry for Anupama. Also, he tries to approve his decision to leave her. For Anand, whenever he looks at Parijata is a flower. It's called as night flowering jasmine. Whenever he sees that, he is personifying Anupama in his mind and he also becomes frightened. Some days later, Anand discovers Girija's affair before her marriage. He also discovers the support of his mother, who is trying to protect Girija for her affair before the marriage. He realizes all this and tries to analyze Anupama from a different angle. He thus realizes the mistake that he has done and tries to bring back Anupama into his life. He plans to trace her and plans to find her out. However, he fails to trace her. Later, Anand happens to go to Bombay to attend an international medical conference. There, he is invited by a friend to see a Sanskrit play, but he hesitantly agrees to attend the play because the Sanskrit play always reminds him of Anupama. While attending the play, he realizes that it is conducted by Anupama and her students, but he fails to talk to her and manages to get her address. The next day, Anupama is shocked to find Anand at the doorstep. The moment when Anupama sees Anand, she tries to burn up the conversation and tries to narrate the mystery that she underwent and questions the action of Anand. Anand tries to beg her to forgive him and asks her to return to his life, but Anupama makes a clear decision saying, "How can Anand expect a burnt seed to grow into a tree?" She also tells him that the subject of having a husband, children, affection, love are all irrelevant in her life. The novel ends by Anupama's plan for another drama with her students. Let us see the themes carried in this novel. Domestic violence, unconditional love of Anupama to her husband Anand, feminism, orthodox belief and social stigma, courage, education, social evils, social status and family relationships, importance to money, suppression of women. Hope this video helped you. If you have any suggestion, please put it down on the comment section. Thank you for listening this video.